So then Trump addressed this issue in an impromptu press conference, and it was in that press gathering where he said this.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
And that is where the narrative exists to this day. So let's pick it apart. Was the president saying that some of the Nazis were very fine people? No. We know this for certain. Trump literally tells you who he's talking about in the same press conference.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
And what Trump is obviously saying here is that you can't paint everyone who opposes the removal of these statues as white supremacist. To do this, he specifically separates them into two groups. One, very fine people, which the press is treating unfairly, and another separate group, group number two, neo-Nazis and white nationalists, which the president specifically says should be condemned totally. There is no other way to read this. All you can do, if you're the press or the Biden campaign, as if they're different groups, all you can do is cut out the other parts of the press conference and hope people don't check. Again, let me point out how completely disingenuous the media is here. When Trump says white supremacists should be condemned totally, this is the follow-up question from the reporter.
Sorry, I just didn't understand what you were saying. You were saying the press has treated white nationalists unfairly?
No.
I just didn't understand what you were saying.
Sir, I don't understand what you're saying. Were you saying that the press has treated white nationalists unfairly? I don't understand what you're saying. No, apparently you don't. You really didn't understand that one? Really? You thought condemning white supremacists meant that they were being treated unfairly? Of course they didn't actually believe that. They're looking for this viral moment, and unfortunately they got it. I'm not arguing this is a master course in crisis PR by the president. He shouldn't bother with the point about both sides in this moment. There's no upside to it. But what he's doing here, essentially, he's standing up for you. About 80% of Republicans and about half of independents oppose removing Confederate statues from public property. The president is simply saying that the average person who doesn't want history removed from the public square should be separated from white supremacists. Now, you might say, perhaps, that he should have been even more clear about everything. Maybe he should have said it more than once. Well, lucky for you, he did.
I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis, believe me. Not all of those people were white supremacists by any stretch. Those people were also there because they wanted to protest the taking down of a statue, Robert E. Lee.
Now, you might say, oh, that wasn't enough. I need him to do it again. Well, guess what? He did it again.
There were people in that rally, and I looked the night before. If you look, there were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day, it looked like they had some rough, bad people. Neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest and very legally protest.
Donald Trump clearly, on multiple occasions, during the same press conference, specifically outlined that he was not talking about white supremacists when he was talking about very fine people. He was specifically talking about people who were not white supremacists. Finally, what about the idea that Trump was equating white supremacists with the peaceful protesters? Was there really violence on both sides, as Trump claimed? Well, the counter-protest groups that were there were portrayed by the media as lovable, huggable groups of peace. They were largely composed of hardcore left-wing revolutionary groups like the Revolutionary Communist Party, the Industrial Workers of the World, Anti-Racist Action, the Workers' World Party, the Metropolitan Anarchist Coordinating Council, and of course, more well-known names today like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. No one in these groups murdered anyone at this event, but they have murdered plenty of other people at other events. And there were numerous violent encounters at these protests instigated by the counter-protesters. And we know with certainty that reporters were completely aware of it. How do we know this? Because one of the reporters got punched in the face by a counter-protester.
Lauren, I'm sorry, please put that away. I understand, can you please put that away? Recording! Hey, look.
How peaceful. That's Taylor Lorenz, the reporter then from The Hill, being assaulted. Another Richmond photojournalist was also assaulted and had his head wrapped in bandages following a nasty cut that I won't show you. There was violence on both sides. There were bad people on both sides. There were good people on both sides. Trump did denounce racism. He did denounce white supremacy. He did denounce white supremacists. And he did denounce these groups by name over and over again.
There must be no tolerance for anti-Semitism in America or for any form of religious or racial hatred. We are a country that stands united in condemning hate and evil in all of its very ugly forms. We want our country to be a place where every child from every background can grow up free from fear, innocent of hatred, and surrounded by love, opportunity, and hope. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
Over and over and over again. He did it at the first debate and again at the town hall last week. And you know what? He's going to waste all of our time doing it again Thursday night. Hi, Stu Bergier of Stu Does America here. Thanks so much for watching our video. Did you know you can watch our entire catalog for free right here on our channel? Subscribe now and be sure to hit the thumbs up button on all the episodes you watch, because that's how they know you like this stupid show. And that little bell in the corner as well. Make sure you click that. You'll get notifications every time we post new content. Stu Does America every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here.